Okay, I have an honest to goodness question for parents and health insurance for their kids. I posted a couple months ago that my kids' insurance supplied through the state, which we had qualified for and we were required to take, was causing us some problems. There were investigations. We've roped in a third-party investigator, and it is still pending under investigation. We are still in limbo, and I still can't go into it because I have nothing to wrap up the situation with, because the situation keeps growing since this past May. And then today, I get an email from my kid's pediatrician's office saying they will no longer be accepting my kid's insurance. And this insurance is one of the top ones the state of Florida offers people. So they'll be losing a massive clientele of patients, and it's because they said they could not get it renewed by the state. I don't know the legalities, the jargon, the blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so many people said when I first talked about how the insurance premiums went up while there was a mistake in the computer and we're paying a massive increase to what we were and all this stuff. But so many people said, just drop the insurance and pay for your kids' visits out of pocket. And that idea scares me, but things are like making more sense with that way of thinking, just given all that we have been going through with being it just feels like we're being run over by truck and train and just beaten down. So I have some questions. For those of you who don't have insurance for your kids, I'm curious how you manage some scenarios. When we took my daughter in almost a month ago, because she had some symptoms of a high fever with her, what turned out to be just a very, very bad cold. But the doctor wanted to see her with some of her symptoms. Our insurance had lapsed for her. Don't know how, paid the premium. Not the point here, that can be another time. But we had to pay out of pocket for the office visit and her lab work. And those two things were still cheaper than the premiums we're paying during this debacle of a time. And it would be an office visit, even if it were unforeseen like it was, we could manage, even more so without these massive premiums we are being forced to pay at this time. So we could manage that. Now, how do you manage well visits that include, vaccines and potential like fancy eye tests? At least that's how it is sometimes every couple of years at my doctor, our kid's pediatrician. Do you call ahead and say, hey, how much is this visit going to cost? I'm out of pocket. I don't have insurance. And then you save for it or whatever your budget finance decisions are. So would I call and be like, hey, how much is a well visit, and my son or my daughter is this age? What vaccines might they need? What, tests might you run in office? Give me all those prices. And then, being who we are, we just budget for it. Is that what you do? Honestly, like I'm trying to gather information here. Another concern is because their health insurance covers dental work and dental visits. And I know how much, because I've overheard it, a dental cleaning with x-rays are at my dentist. But for example, when my son needed dental surgery, everything was covered. We only had to pay $100 out of pocket. And it was pretty hefty work. He had 4 teeth capped and 4 teeth removed, and it was an outpatient at a children's hospital. That would have been very pricey without insurance. So if you don't have insurance and you have dental to-dos, how do you manage the things that are outside of your 6-month cleaning and x-rays? How do you handle the pricier procedures? I have that question. And my last question, and this is what scares the bejesus out of me, is if you don't have insurance, how are you handling a potential hospital visit, being an emergency room, or the doctors say you gotta go for XYZ? How are you handling hospital visits? Because like my daughter, she fell a year and a half ago and hit her head really hard, like it indented her forehead, and went to the emergency room. With the insurance, it cost like $580, and it would have been like $27,000, you know, because it was MRI and CAT scan and the ER visit and all the doctors and the grand production that it was. And there's no way we could pay $27,000. I can manage $122. I can even manage the $500 that the co-pays, you know, had to funnel our way using our emergency fund, but I can't handle $26,000. So what do you do with a hospital deal if you don't have insurance? The premiums we're paying because of this clerical computer error, we could just be shoving into our savings and using that to pay for things medically for my kids, minus a hospital thing. So I'm just having a hard time justifying everything going on right now. You know what I mean? I grew up without insurance. My parents had insurance, but through the loopholes and the rules and everything, I didn't have insurance growing up. So I didn't go to doctors. I didn't have well visits unless it was for, you know, school. It had to be a dire need for me to go to the doctor. And the idea of going to the hospital, I went to the hospital, I remember twice, for very severe asthma attacks. I don't know what my parents must have just let it go to collections. There's no way they could have managed it. So as a child, I felt such pressure to be well and healthy. And I don't want my kids to feel that, you know what I mean? I don't want them to say like, well, I can't go walking in the park because I might get hurt and go to the ER. Like, I grew up with that mindset. I don't want them to. But I don't know. It's a rock and a hard place. And so many people have said, be it on here, other social media platforms, they just don't carry insurance for their kids. And I want to know how you manage everything. Honestly, like, how do you manage the things that come up with kids? Let me know, please. Because this mom is trying to investigate a lot, and she's hitting a lot of roadblocks. And you just want to do what's best for your kids, what's best for your family, what's best for your finances, because if you're drowning financially and you can't provide for your kids, like, it's a never-ending cycle. And I don't know what to do right now. And we really like my kids' pediatrician. They've worked with my son from day one with all of our concerns, and they helped fight for us. And I don't want to lose their care. Okay. I'm going to go now. I hope you're doing well. And any insight you can share, I would appreciate it. Again, I can't go into everything yet that's going on because I just don't even have all the details to go into. So stick to comments about how you do things with no insurance for your kids, if you don't mind. I'll talk to you later.